Okay, so I am going to try to walk you through this problem. Um, so it says a summary of 98 college students was taken to determine music styles that they liked. Um, when you're working a problem like this, you want to start with the area in the innermost of your circles. I usually make a Venn diagram like this, and the area where they all overlap that I've labeled as area 1 represents people who like all three styles of music. So there's classical, rock, and jazz. And as I read through, first I look for the number of students who liked all three. And so 7 students listened to all three musical styles. So in this area where I've labeled with region 1, there are 7 students who are in that area. Then I try to work my way out from inside out. And so when I work backwards and it says 14 listen to classical and jazz. Let's call this down here, this blue circle, we'll call that the classical circle. And the yellow circle, we'll call that the jazz circle. So um, again, text box. This is, I think I said classical. And this one over here represents jazz. And um, this one would represent rock. So if I'm looking at 14 listen to classical and jazz, um, that doesn't mention anything about the rock circle. So that means that 14 total people like rock and jazz, classical and jazz. And so I already have 7 people who liked um, classical and jazz that are also people who liked rock. And so out of the 14, we have 7 of them down already. And so here in this area, the remaining portion of where the 2 circles overlap, I have 7 people who liked only classical and jazz, but they didn't like rock. There were 14 total that liked classical and jazz. And of those, 7 of them also liked rock, but then 7 don't like rock. And you just work your way from the inside out in that same fashion. So if 17 like rock and classical, so this area here where the blue circle overlaps with the red circle, there should be a total of 17. Well, we already have 7 who liked rock and classical and also liked jazz. So that means that there are 10 who only like rock and classical. They did not like jazz. And you just keep going. And then to find your answers to the number of people who only like rock, well, that would be the number that goes here in region 6. And so as I go back through, I fill in my whole chart completely before I start trying to answer the questions. So for example, um, they said 36 students listened to rock. Well, that's a total of 36 students. I have to know how many also liked jazz, how many only liked jazz and rock, how many liked jazz, rock, and classical. And so that's why you have to work your way from the inside out. And then once you have your chart filled, it's easy to answer the questions because you can identify, okay, if they only like rock, then it's these people who are out here, who are outside of the yellow circle, outside of the blue circle, but inside the red. That's what I have labeled as region 6. So hopefully that will help. And Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to stop my screen share. Everything is backwards because I have two screens. Hopefully that will help. And if you still have questions, let me know. Thank you.